Good morning. Welcome to the court's first virtual swearing-in ceremony of 2023. Please keep your audio muted throughout the ceremony. If you wish to follow the speaker, you may want to set your view to speaker view. Mr. Julio Castillo, Clerk of the Court of Appeals, will offer opening remarks.
I'm sorry. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My apologies. I was having some technical issues here. I will be administering the oath today, and I will use the word swear when I administer the oath. If you object to using the word swear, you may substitute the word affirm in its place. I turn the mic back to Mr. Dade.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. The courtroom clerk will now open the courtroom.
All persons having business before the Honorable Associate Judge now presiding over the District of Columbia Court of Appeals, draw near and give your attention. God save the United States and this honorable court. This honorable court is now in session. Please come to order.
Thank you, Mr. Dickerson. The Honorable Judge McLeese will offer introductory remarks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Roy McLeese. I am an associate judge on the District of Columbia Court of Appeals. On behalf of all my colleagues on the court, I'm very pleased to welcome all of you, prospective new members of the District of Columbia Bar and friends and family, to this virtual bar admission ceremony. Generally, court proceedings are serious matters, but today's proceeding is a very happy one. I generally don't like to ruin the surprise, but I can predict that at the end of today's proceeding, everyone here will be a prevailing party. This court was created by Congress in 1970, and it reviews the decisions of the local trial court, the Superior Court of the District of Columbia. We also review decisions of DC administrative agencies. But the court also created the DC Bar, and among its responsibilities are the supervision of the DC Bar, and that includes ruling on motions for the admission of new members. This morning, such a motion will be made on your behalf by Ms. Ilea Welch, who is staff attorney for the Committee on Admissions.
Good morning. On behalf of the Committee on Admissions for the District of Columbia Court of Appeals, I, Ilea Welch, staff attorney for the District of Columbia Court of Appeals, move the admission to the bar of this court the applicants whose names appear on the attached list and who have satisfied the requirements for admission to the bar of this court. On behalf of the Committee on Admissions, I certify to the court that these applicants possess the necessary qualifications for admission to the bar. Thank you. Back to you, Judge, please.
Thank you, Ms. Welch. It may appear that I'm giving this motion rather cursory consideration, but my colleagues and I know that the Committee on Admissions has devoted a great deal of time to reviewing your applications, and that you all would not be included on this list if anything were amiss. So I am pleased, on behalf of my colleagues on the court, to grant the motion to admit today's candidates as members of the DC Bar. I'll now recognize Mr. Castillo, the clerk of the court, to administer the oath.
Thank you, Judge McLeese. Please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that as a member of the bar of this court, I will demean myself uprightly and according to law, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America. Congratulations, and I turn the mic over now to Mr. Dade. You may be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo, and congratulations to everyone. The Honorable Judge McLeese will give judicial remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Dade and Mr. Castillo, and congratulations to you all. The court is very happy to have you all as new members of our bar. It is a tradition at bar admission ceremonies for a member of the court to give some brief introductory welcoming remarks. So I'll be doing that today. And in my remarks, what I want to do is to focus on the idea that law is a profession. I want to focus on the word profession and what that means about law. So what does it mean that law is a profession? Well, one thing it means is that you're not allowed to be a lawyer unless you've demonstrated that you have sufficient mastery of a set of skills and a set of knowledge that is required for you to be able to practice that profession competently. All of you have obviously already done that, or we wouldn't be here today. But I hope you don't think that your days of learning about law are over. All of us need to keep learning and improving our professional skills. Thomas Jefferson was a very avid farmer and gardener and spent many, many years trying to learn all he could about those things. Nevertheless, near the end of his life, he said, "Though I am an old man, I am but a young gardener." And I'm hoping that all of us, no matter where we are in our course through your profession, will keep that frame of mind. And I realize that some of you are new lawyers in the sense that this is the first bar you're being admitted to. Others may have been lawyers for a while and are being admitted to this as a subsequent bar. But either way, no matter how long we've been practicing, I think it's good to keep Thomas Jefferson's idea in mind that no matter how long we've been lawyers, in a sense, we are all still young lawyers with much to learn. The DC bar, unlike many bars, does not have a mandatory CLE requirement. But the bar does have a very excellent set of CLE programs that it sponsors and supports. And I do encourage you on behalf of the court to take advantage of those educational opportunities provided by the bar. So leaving aside sort of technical skill in that way, another component of many professions is that they have a set of minimum standards that those who are in the profession are required to adhere to or follow. And for you as members of the DC bar, those technical standards are the DC Rules of Professional Conduct. I want to stress how important it is that you make yourself familiar with those rules, that you think about them as you go about the everyday practice of law, and that you follow them. This court presides also over the bar's disciplinary process. And I want to say that although we are very eager to have you appear in front of us, we would very much like that to be as advocates rather than as somebody who's in some sort of disciplinary difficulty. Luckily, you're not on your own as far as complying with and understanding the rules goes. The DC bar is there to provide help in a variety of ways. The bar offers a course which this court makes mandatory that focuses, among other things, on the content of the DC Rules of Professional Conduct. The bar can help in other ways as well. If you have an ethical question, the bar does provide the ability to call in and try to get advice about what the rules mean and how they might affect your question. And if you're having personal problems that interfere with your ability to comply with the rules, the bar provides confidential counseling and assistance. As the bar activities I've just discussed indicate, law, like many professions, is to an important degree a self-regulated profession, and the DC bar is at the heart of that self-regulation. So I would like you to encourage considering getting involved in bar activities. The bar has many sections, which I think nowadays are called communities, that focus on particular practice areas. Joining one or more of those communities and getting involved in their work is a great way to help the bar. It's also a great way to develop yourself as a lawyer. There are lots of other opportunities to get involved in the activities of the bar. More broadly, law is not just any profession, it's a very special profession because it is structured with the purpose of creating and sustaining a just society. Lawyers serve that purpose in many ways. They advise clients about how to comply with the law. They represent clients zealously, but within the bounds of the law. They can advocate for clients who'd like the law to be changed. They can help frame, execute, or interpret the law. The overarching idea, though, is that through activities of that kind, lawyers will play a key role in ensuring that everyone, individuals, corporations, governments themselves, understand the law, comply with the law, and also lawyers can help make sure that legal disputes, when they arise, are fairly resolved. Whatever type of law we're practicing, it's vital for us as lawyers to keep in mind the fundamental purpose of the profession. Being a good lawyer in the fullest sense of the word good means a lot more than simply complying with the rules and not getting disciplined or disbarred. I've already mentioned some aspects of the broader idea of being a good lawyer, but I'd like to briefly discuss two others. The first is civility. The DC Bar has voluntary standards for civility. As the name suggests, those standards are not mandatory in the same way that the rules of professional conduct are. But in my view, they are critically important. Our system of law rests on the idea of zealous advocacy. But when lawyers or judges cross over the line from zealous advocacy to incivility, they can hurt themselves, they hurt their clients, and they can hurt the profession. As my mother-in-law used to say, it's fine to disagree, but there's no need to be disagreeable. So please, let's be polite as we go about the practice of law. Another vitally important aspect of being a good lawyer in the broad sense of that term is the provision of pro bono legal assistance to those who are in need. Providing such assistance is a long tradition in the law and a long tradition in the DC Bar in particular. To my mind, that tradition is one of the best and most distinctive features of law as a profession. The Bar's mandatory course will go into greater detail about your pro bono obligations and how to fulfill them. But I would like to take a couple of minutes to speak on behalf of the Court of Appeals about the importance of pro bono work. There are plenty of great reasons to do pro bono work. First, access to legal representation is critically important. There's an unfortunately wide gulf between law's worthy ideals and the practical realities of our legal system. The legal system can work well only when people have adequate resource to the legal assistance they need. For example, the theory is that when cases go to court, a just outcome will result from a zealous presentation of the arguments on both sides on behalf of the parties. When one or more of the features in a case, the parties in a case, lack legal representation, the basic premises of the structure of our legal system can be drawn into question. More generally, people with legal problems often just can't practically handle them without legal assistance. And legal problems can touch on people's most basic and important needs, whether they have a place to live, whether they retain a job, whether they are physically safe, whether they can get essential government benefits. When people are left to face those problems without legal assistance, law can actually become an obstacle to justice rather than a way of achieving it. Many people facing serious legal problems can't afford legal representation. Legal Aid and other similar organizations do amazing work, but they've never had anywhere near the resources necessary to deal with this problem in total. The COVID pandemic and recent economic difficulties have worsened both aspects of the problem, substantially increasing the number of folks who need legal assistance and can't afford it, and at the same time reducing the resources available to the legal aid community. A very recent report from the National Legal Services Corporation paints a very bleak picture nationwide, noting, for example, that 92% of low-income Americans got no legal help or insufficient legal help for their substantial legal problems. The situation is equally dire in the District of Columbia. A relatively recent report from the DC Access to Justice Commission indicates that many litigants in DC Superior Court went unrepresented in proceedings of great significance. For example, 90% of litigants in civil domestic violence proceedings and child custody proceedings, and approximately 90% of respondents in landlord-tenant disputes. So there's a real problem, and your help is desperately needed to address that problem. Second, doing pro bono work can be incredibly personally rewarding. It can allow you to work on an issue that you're passionate about. It can give you a deep personal satisfaction from helping someone in need who's facing a serious problem. It can help remind you that done right, the practice of law is a high calling and a noble profession. Third, and from a more self-interested perspective, doing pro bono work can be a great way to improve as a lawyer. If you're an associate at a big firm and you're eager for opportunities to get into court or to work directly with clients, pro bono work can be a way to get those opportunities often far sooner than you otherwise would. If you're practicing in one area of law, but you're considering or interested in the possibility of moving or developing an expertise in another area of law, pro bono work can be a way to try to explore that. If you're worried that you don't have the skills necessary to provide pro bono assistance, don't be. There are lots of kinds of pro bono work spanning the spectrum from advice to litigation and reaching across many areas of law. Also, the bar and the legal aid community are ready and willing to give you the training and support that you need, and they have outstanding programs that help folks who don't have a pre-existing expertise be ready to provide capable assistance to folks who need it. I've talked with many lawyers over the years about the practice of law. When they talk about the things that they have most loved about their experience in the profession, they almost always talk about the pro bono work that they've done. So for all of those reasons, I, on behalf of the court, encourage you to do pro bono work and to get involved in doing it right away. I'd like to close by, again, congratulating you all, welcoming you again to the DC Bar. Good luck to each of you.
This honorable court is now adjourned.